All right, what is going on, Sports Mockery? What is up, guys? We got a
What's
lot
going
of
on?
Bears talk. What is happening? How are we?
We're
Doing
great.
good. Let's do this.
Yeah, man, let's get right to it. Huge news today. Bears might be moving to the Burbs. How about
Boo.
that?
Boo.
Oh, come
Boo.
on. Come on, man. They need a new stadium. I mean, I know you don't. I know you're not even in state anymore, so I want to hear your opinion on it, but I'm all for it. New stadium, retractable roof, Super Bowl, right down the train line. You can make a whole Bears village over there, just like Wrigley Field. Bring it on. I'm all for it. I'll take your counter argument now and bash it.
All right, fine. Okay, so look, I get.
No. Give me your counter argument.
No. Listen, I get all the financial reasons. I get the convenience and perceived convenience and all that. I get it, man. It's just that, and I'm not even one of those guys that's all like sentimental for history and tradition. None of that. It's more about Soldier Field, its location, the aerial view in a primetime broadcast with the lakefront and the city and everything. It's iconic. It's just absolutely iconic. It's beautiful. There's nothing like it in the NFL, and losing that would suck. So that's all. But other than that, I get all of it. So whatever.
It's a perfectly fair thing. A lot of people love that. You know, I myself included always love those aerial shots. They're just gorgeous to look at. But at the same time, I would live just a half hour away from the Bears' new stadium, so I'm kind of biased on this subject. But, you have to think about it. It's always the bottom line of money, and they would gain infinitely more money in the long run if they owned their own stadium, if it had an increased seating capacity with all sorts of businesses geared towards them surrounding it. So I perfectly understand why they're doing this. It's a sound business decision, presuming they actually win the bid, which is no guarantee. So it's definitely something that makes the negotiations with Chicago all that more interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna get right into that. I mean, we got a mayor that goes 0 to 100 real quick with her statement. We'll get into that, but I just want to talk about the history of Soldier Field's cool and everything. The aerial shots are cool for Twitter, but come on, I mean, this would be so much cooler. I mean, a 326-acre lot. You could have a Bears village. You could build out a bunch of bars, hotels, right on a train line. Not as many people have to drive drunk to the game, so you have less accidents, hopefully less drunk driving. So you take a train. I think it makes so much more sense to move it down there. Obviously, we're years away from that. The Bears still have that lease at Soldier Field for another decade. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure people have broken leases in the history of this country, so I'm pretty sure that's possible. But I don't know. You're right. There's nothing like it in the NFL. There's nothing like small bathrooms and troughs and really long lines for concession stands. Really nothing like it. And freezing in December.
Oh, come on. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me be clear. Even if they move, that roof better not be going up in December. Bears games belong outside, no matter what. No. Fuck a roof.
God,
I actually agree with Drew on this. You got to use the elements to your advantage, and the Bears have always played some of their best football, late in the year when the snow's falling, it's cold out. All those opponents just don't like to handle it all that well. So I agree with him on that front. You keep that roof open if the weather's going to be, fair weather. So,
and I will say this though. I mean, they probably lose a good bit of wind chill, moving off the lake and going to Arlington Heights. So, I mean, in theory, that those elements, like you come to the suburbs and the wind isn't moving as much. It is noticeably milder compared to on the lakefront. So, I mean, while obviously it's better to have a home field advantage with the elements, obviously with rain falling and snow falling, that would be great. But I think you would lose some of that wind chill factor that everyone's like, oh my God, I'm freezing it. I'm feeling it in my bones. It's negative 30-degree
Either
wind
way,
chill.
Matt Nagy is pointing and laughing right now at both you guys because there's no way he's going to let his franchise quarterback run around in the cold weather and on a slippery turf to injure himself when he could have a roof over his head. I mean,
here's the
come on.
best part. Justin Fields doesn't have to run around. This isn't Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have to run
but
around.
He's going to. That's like half his game. He's going to run.
But I'm saying he doesn't have to. Like he doesn't have. Like he
and
can.
I'd like to interject, by the way, he played at Ohio State, which isn't exactly known for its great weather. So I don't think that would be a problem for him.
Yeah, and how many times did he almost get hurt? I don't know if it was necessarily
Because
compared
of
to the weather, but I don't know if it's become compared to the weather. But he got he's slipping and falling. Why would you even take the chance? Why would you take the chance? Why if you have a roof?
Why wouldn't you?
Because you can get hurt, and then you're screwed.
Russell Wilson in Seattle, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Tom Brady in New England, and he doesn't move either. Come on, man. Like, the weather is not
Okay,
going
well,
to
if you're playing those teams in the playoffs and they're used to it, there's no advantage anyway. So close the roof so I can enjoy myself and not freeze.
So
there we go. Okay, now we understand the crux of
your part.
So if we're just tuning in, guys, welcome to the show, Club Dub Podcast. Eric, Drew, and Kevin, go ahead and toss us a follow. You're watching us live on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're finding us. We appreciate that. Again, this is a really, really big story. One of the biggest the Bears have had quite a long time. I'd say since the Justin Fields thing. These two things are probably the two biggest Bears stories, some of the two biggest in my entire life. And it's really interesting because there's 10 buyers for this that have submitted proposals to Arlington Heights. We've kind of always known that the Bears were interested. They just never chose to say anything until now. And now that it's official, the Arlington Heights mayor, he was on with the Score guys, and he's saying, "Oh, we would love it if they joined," and all that. So there seems to be some common ground between these two parties. And I'll bring up the statement here from Ted Phillips. So this is what was released today to the press and put online. "We recently submitted a bid to purchase Arlington International Racecourse property. It's our obligation to explore every possible option to ensure we're doing what's best for our organization and its future. If selected, this step allows us to further evaluate the property and its potential. Yours truly, Ted Phillips, President and CEO." So there's a lot of takeaways that we can get from this statement, and I'll put it back up there for people to read it. But first and foremost, the first thing I get from it is this is a long, long, long process. They're not going to be playing in Arlington Heights for the next few years if this goes through, but they're really interested here. You can just tell.
Yeah, I was actually surprised they came out and said this. I know there'd been, rumblings about it, and the Bears could be interested, maybe they should be interested, all that kind of stuff. I'm actually genuinely surprised they said this, and I know there's a lot of talk going on about this being a negotiating power play with the city and whatever. Maybe it is, but if their bid's accepted, then what happens? So, I don't know the legal ramifications of all of that, but I thought it was fascinating that they put this out there.
Yeah, just kind of, I don't know. I really, to me, we just always kind of had that underlying feeling. I think this was one of the worst kept secrets in Chicago sports, right? We all kind of figured that this was going to be a move. They don't own Soldier Field. The city of Chicago doesn't necessarily, give them, it's not their field. They don't get to dictate what's done with it. The turf there, you hear complaints all the time from other teams. I just think that this is, you're doing your due diligence. This is a good move, whether it happens or not. Ted Phillips is doing a really good job here by looking. Then we got a quick response here from Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Lightfoot was super busy today, so if you guys are just getting to know me, I'm a news anchor over at WGN, so I was listening to all of her press conferences today. She was busy. She was all over the city today doing left and right, doing a bunch of press conferences, and figured she'd probably have the rest of the afternoon off, and then this hit. And look at this statement. This is unbelievable. Like, you want to talk about an it's almost funny. Like, just read that.
Almost, it's hilarious.
Hilarious. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, the part about, I'll just read it all the way through. So our city's home to some of the world's finest sports teams who have played a vital role in the city's reopening. So I'll stop there. She's already thrown the pandemic in their face too. Like, oh wow, you're gonna ditch us in the middle of a pandemic. So there's strike one. As part of the city's recovery, many organizations are doubling down on their commitment to Chicago. We expect the Bears to follow suit. They're locked in until 2033. In addition, this announcement comes in the midst of negotiations. Clear negotiation tactic, which, yes, it probably is. As a season ticket holder, I'm committed to the Chicago being in our football team name. Most Bears fans, we want the organization putting the focus on a winning team on the field, beating the Packers, and being relevant past October.
Woo. All right, look. For those getting to know me, I know you introduced yourself a little bit earlier, Kevin. For those getting to know me, I'm a consultant in real life, and a lot of my job is to manage relationships. And when I put out a communication, an email or whatever, I think 10 times on how to word something sensitive. This is something sensitive, and Mayor Lightfoot gave zero fucks, like zero. This is incredible. Did not hold back. It was awesome. Look, I mean, I mean, she's going to go down swinging. And again, to your point, this isn't going to be something that happens, anytime soon as far as them moving and having a new stadium ready and whatever else. So there's still a ways out. But I mean, once you make the, commitment to do it, it's all in motion. You're not going to abandon a half-built stadium on, land that you purchased, right? So, maybe they create a secondary, training facility there if they wanted to, if they bought the land and then they were able to work something out with the city. But I doubt that. That doesn't make any sense to do. So,
the Texas Rangers did that. They built a stadium, and then we're like, we're going to build another one. And they just left it. So you're right. I don't think the Bears are going to do that. But you're right. No, this is. It sounds like someone who, she's clearly a passionate fan. She I get that, but I mean,
she's a fan.
She also comes across as a bit naive if you think about it. I mean, she mentions the lease ending in 2033, but people have got out of leases, as you mentioned before. But it's not just that. She thinks that the NFL is just going to step in and quash this whole thing. Whereas I'm like, why would they do that if there's a chance that the Bears could end up making some serious money for the league off of this? I mean, the NFL loves money more than anything. We all know this. So if there's a chance the Bears can establish a serious money-making thing, and with Super Bowls far in the future possibly being held there in addition to other events, they're going to jump at that opportunity, especially if it makes a cornerstone franchise happy, which is another thing they'd probably, like in the third biggest market in the country. So the fact that the NFL would just step in and, make it all go away is a bit naive on her part.
I love this question here from Jason. Where do the McCaskies come up with the money to build a new stadium? They're not very rich owners. Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? They're, I'm moving to Chicago in 2 weeks. What are they going to do? Tax me even more? I don't make that much money, so you can come at me and you can tax me more. I mean, that city's already, the taxes are already unbelievable, and that's and down there for everything.
It would definitely not be a publicly funded project. We'll just say that they would need private backers, and I'm guessing they'd be able to find them. I mean, MetLife Stadium found them, Sophie Stadium found them. They're going to find people willing to back this thing, depending on what sort of investments they're going to be able to make, not just in the stadium itself, but the surrounding area. So there are going to be plenty of opportunities to find private backers for this, if it ends up going through, obviously.
Keep those comments flowing in, guys. PA, yeah, they are rich as hell, but like when you look at NFL owners, they're not some of the richest NFL owners out there. And you're talking about a maybe $5 billion project here.
You're also talking about an ownership whose entire business is the Bears, right?
Yeah.
I mean, other owners have various other things. That's where their fortune comes from, and this is a side business. The Bears are what they have. So, yeah, I mean, this is a lot for them to invest. They would need a lot of backing from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a fascinating story. And I really want to credit the Daily Herald for all the investigative reporting they did on this. I mean, they were on this from day one. They made my job a lot easier. So shout out to the Daily Herald. You guys have some awesome reporters over there. Really did a great job reporting this, breaking this story. This is just, it would be really, really cool. Think about it this way. Even if you really like Soldier Field, think about it this way. Do you want a Super Bowl in Illinois? How cool would that be? You're not going to have a Super Bowl on the lakefront. That's never going to happen. The turf is bad and it's too cold. So this gives the Bears a shot. That's a lot of money for the state. It'd be pretty neat to have it, in our own backyards. It'd be pretty cool. So I don't know. Just think.
I'm with you there. Makes sense.
All right, he's on board. All right, we got to get it done. Drew's on board, so now we can make it happen.
We can make it happen.
Let's get over to the practice field. Minicamp wrapped up today. It was mandatory minicamp. The Bears had pretty much everybody there, right? I think Eddie Goldman was the only guy who did not, which was weird because he was there and then he wasn't.
Eddie Goldman was never there, I think. I think he talked to Matt Nagy and team.
Okay, because Nagy said, it's good to see Eddie here, and he's making me laugh and all that, and then he just, I don't know. He said in a press conference that Eddie, it was good to see Eddie again back in the building, and then all of a sudden we just heard that he wasn't there. So either way, not too concerned about that. I'm sure they'll figure it out. I just want to, Allen Robinson showing up without a contract. I mean, he's getting paid a big bag this year, about $18 million. But shout out to him for showing up and not putting up a fight over it. He's showing up. He's helping out Justin Fields. He's already catching some nice passes from him. Allen Robinson is really one of my favorite athletes in the entire city. Him and Chris Bryant, two guys that have put up with a lot of like shit with their contracts, and they just show up and play, and they play really, really well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Allen Robinson. What were you saying, Eric?
I mean, it's the right thing to do. I mean, the best thing you can do is keep your mouth shut and play well, and the money's going to find you eventually. It happens almost all the time with athletes who take that approach. If the Bears aren't going to pay him, somebody's going to pay him next year. There's no question of that, especially if he balls out this year, whether it's with Dalton or Fields, because he's already proven he can play well with just about any quarterback. So if you can give him somebody significant and money in the process, he'll be happy and he'll produce, because people know that at this point. So, you know, the Bears are going to lose leverage the longer they play this out, presuming Allen Robinson plays like he did last year. So he's taking the correct approach.
I thought it was interesting, though, that he basically came out and said there's no new updates on his negotiations, whereas, you know, maybe in the past he may have said, yeah, we're still kind of working through it, or yeah, we'll see. We're just like, no new updates. So, you know, that's interesting. I mean, maybe he meant that literally and like, no, we don't have a deal, or maybe he meant like, nah, we haven't talked in, you know, however long. So I thought that was fascinating. And I mean, frankly, I don't blame him. You know, air it out in the media. You deserve, you know, a long-term deal. We can argue on the, you know, average annual value, but definitely deserves a long-term contract. So, I mean, I hope he gets his, but
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
absolutely. I hope he gets it too, and I hope it's here because he's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he is an awesome advocate. He makes this team look good. He I don't know, he makes Matt Nagy look good in the public eye. Him showing up shows a lot about the relationship Nagy's able to have with star players and guys even without contracts. And Nagy said that in press conferences. He goes, "Hey, listen, like, we understand his situation, but he's still here giving us his best effort." And you know, there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of prima donnas in a lot of professional sports that wouldn't do that. So I hope he gets it here. I hope Justin Fields ends up playing this year and absolutely makes it impossible for Allen to want to go anywhere else. With that, I want to show you a video. We caught this video earlier.
Nice.
If you didn't catch it, it's a quick video, so I'll play it one more time.
You just wanted to see it again, didn't you?
Yeah, and one more time.
It's a pretty
all right, I'm good now.
I mean, people underestimate how difficult that throw actually is.
Yeah,
I mean,
he threw it over two linebackers.
Not just that. Well, one was a cornerback. That was Thomas Graham, by the way. But
and you got the sideline as another defender.
You got the sideline. It's about, I guess, about 15, 20 yards down the field. He's sliding to his left, and he's a right-arm quarterback, so that's difficult in and of itself. But you also have to remember this. Damiere Byrd's only 5'9", so he's not exactly a tall wide receiver, and he still managed to hit him in stride over two defenders. That's a really good throw.
Yeah, it's a beautiful throw. And look, these, and I think I quote tweeted your tweet earlier today, Eric, when you posted that story. Yeah. Look, these are the kinds of throws that are worth getting excited about. I don't give a fuck about out routes. I don't give a fuck about slants. I don't give a fuck about, you know, comebacks, and none of that. Doesn't matter. Like, you better be hitting those. Those are simple routes. A replacement level quarterback should be hitting those. Those are the kinds of throws that will separate the great quarterbacks and, you know, also rans. And those are the kinds of throws I want to see more of. And great, that was great. I want to see him when he's in pads. I want to see that consistently. But that was really nice. I was really happy to see a throw, because the other day we saw Andy Dalton throw a dime to Marquise Goodwin. That was awesome. That was a beautiful throw. I'm glad we finally have a similar highlight for Justin Fields. That's very encouraging. I don't know, man. I don't know. Two dimes to Marquise Goodwin in the same practice down the field, stretching the defense. That's
people forget Mitch Trubisky was a great practice quarterback too. So
was he?
I mean, that's all we heard about. Oh, he had a great practice this week.
Well, they weren't going to say he sucks in practice, because I mean, like, they didn't even say he sucked after his horrible games.
And by the way, there were a lot of reports that he was throwing a lot of interceptions, particularly in 2019. So he was starting to struggle a lot at certain
pushing the envelope. Pushing the envelope.
Yeah. I know I'm contradicting my own opinion, because that was a practice throw from Justin Fields. But I don't get too excited.
They're using with Tua now.
Yeah. It was just
Well,
practice. It was raining. It was just practice.
Yeah,
Our
I heard
secondary was
about.
really good.
I saw Drew was on his soapbox about Tua earlier this week. Yeah, what happened with that? What was going on? I don't give a damn
He
about the
threw 5
Dolphins.
picks in practice.
Jeez,
Yeah.
5? I could do better than that. Throw me out there in pads.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
5? Man, I mean, the Dolphins are. He's got some targets on that defense or on that offense too. That's embarrassing. Either way, I stand. I digress. I stand. But he has been named. He has been named the Week 1 starter. Kinda. We're gonna listen here from comments from Nagy. He joined my favorite football analyst, Chris Collinsworth, on his podcast. Absolutely love Chris Collinsworth. I can't wait to hear him and Al back on the call again this year. Those guys are just the best. I mean, gold standard in broadcasting. Listen to what Nagy had to say to Collinsworth. Some really interesting comments here because it's such a I don't know. I'm trying to think of the coach that I really want to explain this. It's such a coach speak type of thing, but it's something Lovie Smith always used to say too. So we'll give it a listen.
And so the $1 million question is, well, when's it going to be? Is it going to be in training camp? Is it going to be in the first game of the year? Is it going to be the 7th game, the end of the year? Is it next year? For us, we put together this plan, and the plan is that Andy is the starter. And Andy's played 10 great years in this league, or nine great years in this league, and had a lot of success. And we're excited to be able to have him come in here and do what we think he can do, but yet also teach Justin how to play quarterback, all of us together, and insulate him so that he can maximize his strengths. And so we'll have that plan and put it together, but it's going to be really, really fun to have a preseason and be able to see what Justin can do in these preseason games.
You're doing all this with a serious face, and I'm sitting over here smiling. All I'm thinking is, come on, dude, put him in on opening Sunday Night Football against the Rams. Let's go, baby. Let's see what he's got. But I know you were part of the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, right? And their plan was he really didn't play until the final game of the year. And when he played, I think the whole world went, uh-oh. He really does have it. And how much does that influence your thinking here?
Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes to that. Now, and I think there's 2 things the way I look at it. Number one is it's very easy for me to be able to explain to Ryan and our coaching staff and everybody else in this building that I lived that. I was in every one of those meetings with Alex and Patrick and Coach Reed. I lived that every day from the day we drafted Patrick to the day we had our first meeting with Alex to the last game, playoff game against the Tennessee Titans that season. And I got to see how that process went. And so I use that and we use that as a blueprint. Does that mean it's going to be exactly that way for us in Chicago? No. And I think that's where sometimes when I get criticized or we get criticized and you say, well, it's not the same thing. Andy's not Alex. Andy wasn't here for 5 years or 4 years like Alex was to build those relationships. That's 100% true. But at the same point in time, in my opinion, I do think that it's very easy to just take every rookie quarterback. And there's good examples of it, of throwing them in right away, week 1, and those guys taking off and succeeding. But there's also bad examples of it. And so when we have an experienced quarterback like Andy that can come in here and learn and do things, and he can prove to us and show to us that he can win football games with us, that's how we're going to be evaluating things. And so in a perfect world, Andy comes in and he wins football games and we're having success. And Justin is growing and learning on how to play the quarterback position and not being thrown into the fire without, when he's not ready.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it from the man himself. He doesn't believe that he's going to be ready in time. And you know what? None of us are NFL coaches. None of us have coached Patrick Mahomes. None of us have coached any quarterbacks. I mean, maybe some people listening are high school football coaches. If you are, tune in. I want to hear your comments and give us a follow because I'd love to hear from you guys throughout the season. But I trust Nagy here. I'm gonna go with what he wants to do. That's just my gut feeling. If he doesn't think Fields is gonna be ready week 1, he's probably not gonna be ready week 1.
I mean, Nagy's done this before, not just with Mahomes. He used to be a quarterback. He's been a quarterback's coach for a long time. He understands the position better than any of us possibly can. So you really have to, go with his gut in this sort of situation. And his argument is perfectly sound. I mean, Andy Dalton's done this for a long time. He's shown he can be a perfectly serviceable quarterback, especially if you can give him some help, if you protect him, give him a couple weapons. He can put up some points, and if the defense continues to play like they have, they can win some football games. And the longer you can prevent Justin Fields from being thrown out there before he's ready, the better. So, yes, everybody wants to see him. I want to see him. It makes perfect sense that you want to see your new toy on the field and see him light up the scoreboard as quickly as possible. But at the same time, the track record of sitting talented quarterbacks for a little while, giving them a chance to learn the NFL speed, tends to work out well. It worked out well with Mahomes, as we all know. Aaron Rodgers is another example. Carson Palmer is another example. There are plenty of examples of this working out in the Bears' favor, which is why Nagy's going with that direction. I perfectly understand it, and I applaud the willingness to do that because not a lot of head coaches would.
I'll say this, man, he has gotten slammed every press conference with Fields questions. And when's he going to start? What does your depth chart look like? What happens if Dalton gets injured? What happens if this tiny thing happens? And he has held pretty steadfast on, look, Andy's our starter. Justin is number 2. This is our process. This is our plan. Our plan hasn't changed. Now, he has also given himself a good bit of wiggle room with some of the words that he's used in case, let's say, Dalton is really bad, which he clearly hasn't been. I mean, yeah, he had one practice with 3 picks, but, I mean, he's been very serviceable, very, I think, decent based on all the other reports recently. So he's been coming along really well. But he's given himself some wiggle room to say, okay, look, if Fields is so much undeniably better than Andy Dalton that I have no choice but to start Fields, then I will. It sounds like he'd be open to that. But he's still doing his part in the media to protect this whole notion of Andy Dalton is my guy. I signed him for a reason, right? We talked about him being the starter. Fields still is on this plan. I think he has played this very well. He has not strayed from a message, but he has given himself the out where if Fields is that much better, he can start Fields. And it won't be like, oh my God, why are you starting Fields? It's like, well, things turned out to be not what I thought it would. But I think he has handled that well. I mean, the number of, I don't know if you guys saw this today, but he basically, or was it yesterday? He basically told the media, look, guys, you can ask me every day if you'd like. It's not going to change.
He said, please be, I think he was like, respect me or something like that or whatever, which, yeah, I mean, Chicago media, we're ruthless. I mean, that's just, that's what it's part of the game and he knows it. But he's handled it really well. Jake, are you actually QB1? I'd love to know, because honestly, this is what a lot of people are saying. And honestly, we don't know. We don't know if he's going to get 3 games to watch and then he's going to play. He might not play at all this year. Chances are Andy Dalton does have injury history. Chances are Andy Dalton will get hurt and miss a couple games, which I think Fields will play then. I think we definitely will see him this year in an injury situation. But if Andy Dalton absolutely sucks, I mean, then we'll see him. And he's going to play some really, really tough defenses the first couple weeks, which is another reason why I think Nagy's going to be like, listen, we can't judge him right away. He's playing the Rams week 1. He's got Cleveland week 2 or 3, right?
3, yeah.
Week 3? Yeah, and who's week 2? I got the schedule right here. I'll pull it up. Let's see what we got. So you got the Browns week 3. I mean, yeah, you got some tough defenses in there. I mean, that's – so I don't know. I do think we'll see him, but this is, we're not putting any timelines on it. That's basically what Matt told us today. Also, I really had to hold this in while he was talking. Jason, my comment of the week, man. Shout out to you. If we had T-shirts to give you, I'd give you a T-shirt. We're not there yet. We're growing. We're getting to it. But this is awesome.
I do want to add one more thing right there on the on Fields versus Dalton. These throws that we're seeing, right? This is all physical. This is, are you hitting it? Are you timing it properly? Are you getting enough touch? Those kinds of things. A lot of what Fields has to learn, and I know we've covered this before, but I'm going to say it again, A lot of what Fields has to learn that Dalton has gone through in his career is reading a defense, knowing what to do pre-snap, how to align his team, how to shift his offensive line, how to identify a blitz, those kinds of things that are harder to do at the NFL level that Fields has to do. So while he might be able to make every throw, while his accuracy might be good, while his deep ball might be elite, while whatever, that mental aspect of the game when you're going against Aaron Donald, right? I mean, like that's hard.
Yeah,
so those
exactly.
kinds of things that's what we won't be able to see from these clips that Nagy and team are going to be seeing in practice, and that's what's going to inform those decisions.
100%.
I'm done.
Are you?
I'm done. I promise.
Okay. I'm watching the Cubs right now too. Looks like they're going to avoid the sweep here, hopefully. So apologize if I'm a little distracted. They frustrated me. David Ross tossed that game yesterday. It really made me upset.
Yes, he did.
But we'll talk about that later. Justin Fields, standing ovation at the Friendly Confines, which was really cool. Tell you guys what, if you haven't been back to Wrigley yet this year, man, that place was bonkers over the weekend. I went on Friday.
Would you know?
I went on Friday. Yeah, it was a great time. I posted about it enough, didn't I?
Oh, are we getting there? Are you gonna pull it up? Up?
I got the video. So this was at Wrigley on Friday against the Cardinals. One of the best Cubs games I've ever been to. I mean, Mike Breen and Jeff Van Gundy were there. They were calling the Bucks game. They came down for a game at Wrigley. They had Bill Murray there doing the 7th inning stretch. I mean, it was electric. Awesome. So here was Justin Fields getting an ovation. People were just having a good time. As soon as they showed him on the board, people went crazy.
Let's give a Wrigley Field welcome to the Chicago Bears 2021 draft picks, Justin Fields, Thomas Graham Jr., and Khalil Herbert.
Wait for it.
Yeah,
if you were wondering, I took a screenshot too. So if you're wondering who the clown was with the farmer's tan and the really sweaty shirt, that was me right there. It
looking
was
good, Kev.
It was good. When's the last time you sat in the bleachers?
I don't do that, man. Not in the summer. It's too hot.
Yeah, I made that. I haven't sat out there in a few years, and I really, really underestimated how hot it was going to be. That sun did not go away.
Yeah,
like, it was there. It was there for a solid 3.5 hours. There was a ton of pitching changes in like the 5th, 6th inning, and I was just like, I sat down and I looked at my friend. I'm like, and I was supposed to go to work after that. Oh, I was like, dude, I gotta go. I gotta go shower. There's no way. Because I was just gonna hop on the red line and go down, but there was no chance.
Nah, man.
Great game though. Rizzo's home run on 15 pitch at bat. Justin Fields getting the standing O as he well deserved. Quite the difference from when Mitch got booed at the United Center. Poor guy.
You know what I liked about that, by the way? I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I liked how they as teammates didn't stand up until the last person's name was called. Then they stood up all together. That was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, I think he's really done a really cool job. If you follow him on Instagram or social media, he comments on a lot of the other rookies' page. They're very seem to be, they hang out, they're close knit. I believe Adam Johns tweeted or reported that he was hanging out with Andy Dalton and his wife too. So it seems like a lot of these guys are starting to gel, and it's cool to see the rookies. And it's not all about me. It's not my show. This is a team show, and he came out in support of Andy Dalton being named the starter. He goes, I'm just going to do whatever I can to make the team win. He's saying all the right things. He's doing what he needs to do. He's being a good teammate, and it's a good sign. It's a good start. So.
All facilitated and motivated by an excellent head coach that everyone seems to hate.
Who? What head coach? Who hate?
That excellent head coach that everyone seems to hate.
Nagy?
Mm-hmm.
Is there another one?
I don't think everybody hates Nagy.
You're not my mentions enough, man.
I think Meatball Bears fans hate Matt Nagy.
There's plenty of those.
Maybe you just got Maybe you're like the pasta sauce and the spaghetti, bringing it all to bringing. That was a horrible. I don't know. That was terrible. But
Yes.
So bad.
that was.
So bad.
I didn't take that. I take that back. But anyway, yeah, I think if you know even a little bit about football, yeah, Nagy's made his mistakes, but he's a good head coach. No, yeah, he's a good head coach. Fan.
Yeah, Twitter. That's right.
Yeah, I told you. I just won Twitter today. Speaking of, give me a follow, man. I'm no longer asking. I wish I had that Bernie Sanders meme. I need to get those follows up, Bears fans. Come on, I'm a fun follow.
Follow Kevin.
Follow me, man.
Do it.
I'm fun. Sometimes. I'm also a meatball like you sometimes, too. So give me a follow. Other big news of the week. This guy's not coming back.
I mean, sorry, no. I'm objective. I don't care about that. I want to see Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. There's nothing better.
Dude, I was listening to overnight radio, and they're like, we want to see Rodgers. We want to see the best team. It's like, no, we don't.
No,
we don't. We've seen that. We've seen that. We've read that book.
15 years. It's been 15 years. Oh my God.
It's probably the same fans talking about how Nagy sucks too. Maybe not. But yeah, Eric, you had a couple good pieces on this.
It's a wild situation. I mean, listen, if this were just a handful of, second-tier insiders saying this or whatever, you'd be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't take this too seriously. It's maybe just some grandstanding. But these are guys like Jay Glazer, Benjamin Albright, Ty Dunn, who's very respectable. I mean, these guys are all saying there's a very strong likelihood that he ain't coming back. If he's not traded to another team, which seems to be the favorite right now is Denver, he's going to sit out the year and then probably get traded next offseason once, the Packers have a good idea of what they can get for him in terms of where in the draft. So, there's a strong likelihood he played his last year in Green Bay, last season. And it's crazy to think about. No MVP has ever done something like this before. It's completely unprecedented. And the fact that it's happening to the Packers, just makes it that much sweeter.
Packers week 1 starter, Blake Bortles. No, it's probably going to be Jordan Love from what I hear. But I just love this picture. This is great.
It's amazing.
He kind of looks like Chase Daniel a little bit.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, at first Chase Daniel does look like Chase Daniel. God bless Chase Daniel. That dude's he's got a great accountant or a great great agent. That dude's picked up quite a bit
right
of
up there
money.
with Sam Bradford.
Yeah, no kidding. I was going to say Sam Bradford, also member of the Rams at one point. God, that's a great picture. Anyway, yeah, what were you saying, Drew?
I was just going to say, how crazy is it that the last two quarterbacks of the Green Bay Packers, Hall of Fame level quarterbacks, have exited so, I don't want to say disgracefully, but just so unceremoniously, It's crazy. It's amazing. Like, how is that?
I know Favre and the organization, they're on good terms now. He was at the Bart Starr, number retirement before he passed. He's really good. Like, he's very close with Sherry Starr, which is obviously Bart's widow. So I know that he's back in the organization and treated as such now, but you're right. It didn't end on good terms. But what people really are forgetting is these were way different terms. Favre didn't win MVP, and he was clearly on the downslope of his career. To me, Rodgers he's like, hey, I don't have anything else to prove. You guys, we decided to kick a field goal instead of trusting me in the NFC title game against the best quarterback of all time. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me.
And we continue to not invest high-grade resources into my game. I mean, again, a corner in the first round, not paying for any high-priced free agent, be it an offensive lineman, a tight end, or, a wide receiver, obviously. So,
that's the only argument I don't like about that, though, because he has a top 5 O-line, a great head coach. They went out and got the coach that he wanted, and they have Devontae Adams. Yes, they could do more. They haven't.
I recall that they hired him without his input.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
But forget.
Yeah, LaFleur was not necessarily on Rodgers' list.
I thought Rodgers had a say. Maybe not. No, I thought he had more
absolutely zero say.
Yeah, he didn't have any say in that. But I would say, to your point, though, the weapons are there. I mean, Robert Tonyan is a very good pass-catching tight end, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling great speed threat. Yeah, he drops a few balls sometimes, but he can get open with the best of them. I mean, for years he had Greg Jennings and Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson and
and that's my thing. And he's got Aaron Jones. They just gave Aaron Jones $12 million a year. I mean, they have invested in some ways, but right, they could be doing more. No question, they could. But again,
I think it's perceived
the Tom Brady effect. Everybody wants what Tom Brady has.
That's exactly it. I mean, they threw their lot in with Brady, and they go on to beat Rodgers in the Super Bowl or in the NFC Championship and then win the Super Bowl handily. So you can perfectly understand why Rodgers is feeling the way he's feeling. It's like they're throwing their lot behind a guy who's 43. Here I am 5 years younger, and my team can't be bothered to do the same. That's his mindset anyway. So, that you can easily see why it's gotten to this point.
I just want to say, like, the last season or so of the Packers could be honestly like a movie script, right? I mean, like you look at, I struggled a little bit last year, but I was still relatively okay. Hey, sign me to an extension. I want to retire. Nah, we'll pass. All right, I'll just go out and just literally dominate almost every team that I play, win the MVP, look absolutely like 10 years reborn once again, and just be awesome while doing it. And, oh my God, Rodgers, come back. Nah, fuck you guys. It's just elite pettiness. Just
so awesome.
It's fantastic.
Rizzo just missed an absolute bomb. I thought he got a hold of one. Damn.
Why you gotta do that? Why?
Sorry.
Okay.
I told you I'm going to get distracted. The Cubs got to win this game. But no, you're absolutely
fans in the process, man.
Yeah, come on. We're Cubs and Bears are the same thing. They're just they're little bears.
It's okay. We see Craig Kimbrell pitch in maybe in a few minutes. I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean it's top 9, so we probably will in a bit. No, the Rodgers thing is this. You're right. It's a fascinating story, but I do want to say that I do want to say that I have been on, and I think you have too. You guys too. We knew that he wasn't coming back like a month and 2 months ago. I mean he was very adamant. We just kind of knew. It was obvious. The facts were there, and this is just. I can't say I didn't see it coming. Like there's part of me that I get it. He's got that way about him, and he has every right to be that way. He's his own person, and he has nothing else to prove in this league. He's one of 5 players to win 3 MVP awards in NFL history. So, I'd be pissed too if you ran the ball or if you decided to kick a field goal on fourth and fourth and goal. Yeah, 4th and goal from the 8. Yeah,
and give Tom Brady like endless prompting material.
I wouldn't. I'd still be mad about that. There'd be one thing if I was him, I would still be mad about that, and I think he is. I don't get
to say it.
Another quarterback you're giving the ball back to, maybe okay, you can justify it, but it's Tom Brady. He's one of the all-time great clock killers in the league, and aside from all the other stuff he's done. People forget that. And then the defense commits 3 egregious penalties on the drive that Tom Brady's running, and it's like, what were you expecting? So, I mean, the field goal never made any sense in any sort of context. So, yeah, I can perfectly understand why Rodgers was furious.
Is anybody else loving the
Yeah, he's a great clock killer, except for right here. Shout out. Great win. That was a fun game.
You know what? It's that Soldier Field home field advantage. That's what did it. I'm telling you.
There was no fans. There were no fans there.
It threw them off.
It was something. It was the ghost of yore.
Yeah. Oh, it was that bear weather.
Bear weather in October.
Bear weather in October, yeah.
Nice it was the Nick Foles effect. We all know that.
Nick Foles effect. There you go.
Yeah. Honestly, you probably have something to that there. So we're going to wrap things up, guys. This is the Club Dub Podcast presented by SportsMockery.com. Go ahead and give us a follow. Give us all a follow on Twitter as well. Before we go, just want to run a real quick thing. If you're just joining us, again, the biggest story of the day, how the Bears could move to Arlington Heights. They did submit an official bid to buy the 326-acre lot at Arlington Park, which I don't think that would just be for a practice facility. One would assume that would mean if they do get the bid, we're a few years away, but one would assume that they would move to the suburbs. There's a ton of NFL teams that do this. It's a lot more common than many people think. So brace yourselves, because I think it's coming. I think that it will get sold to the Bears. And Ian Rappaport had a really great insight on it, so I'm going to let him kind of explain some details before we get out of here.
Well, MJ, could have a dramatic consequence for the future of Soldier Field, certainly something that is being debated in the city of Chicago and in the suburbs today. Here's what we know is the Chicago Bears announced they did submit a bid to be the owners of Arlington International Racecourse, one of 10 people, one of 10 entities to submit bids. This is simply for the Chicago Bears, who are right now negotiating potential improvements for Soldier Field. This is them keeping their options open. And essentially what Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago said, this is just noise. This is a negotiating tactic because, as I mentioned, the Bears are working on potential improvements, and they do have a lease in the city of Chicago through 2033. They would have to buy themselves out of the lease if they were to go somewhere else and build a new stadium. This also, I should mention, not the first time they've looked at this plot of land. They did it the last time before they made their recent improvements. However, Chicago does have one of these smaller stadiums. They do have limited revenue streams. If the Bears are willing to move out of the city, it could greatly increase the value of the franchise.
Did you guys see that skyline?
No, I wasn't paying attention. I'm gonna be honest. I was watching the Cubs again, but but yeah, it's a great skyline. I see it every day now, so it is a great skyline, and everything Rappaport said is very true there. Yeah. It would increase the value of the franchise, be a much nicer stadium. Listen, we've all been to Soldier Field. It's nothing to write home about. The historic aspect is cool, but like it's nothing to write home about. It's a very, we could have the Bears with their fan base. They could fill a 90,000 seat stadium
Easy.
every Sunday, no questions asked. And that's it's 30,000 more seats. People forget that Soldier Field's only just a hair over 60,000, 61,000 seats. I mean, yeah. So I'm all for it. Count me in. Sign me up. If I have to contribute anything, I don't have any money to contribute, but I'll contribute in other ways if they want. Whatever they want, I'm in. Eric's in too.
Well, clearly you're giving them all the positive reinforcement of the decision on this podcast, so I guess you're doing the marketing for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I hope they're tuning in. Give us a shout out, give us a retweet, give us a sponsor. We'd love that. Shout out. We love the Bears, and we hate them. We love them.
We do.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up right there. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back with you guys in a couple of weeks. Again, follow us at Club Dub Podcast on Twitter. Follow me at Wells15Kevin, at Drew of Cole, at Eric Lambert1. All right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful weekend, and bear down.
It feels great. I mean, it feels like, that I'm home. So I'm excited to be a Chicago Bear, and I'm, excited to get started.